I've been married to my beautiful wife Margie for over 28 years, and one of the things that has been very important for us in our marriage is to make sure that our relationship hasn't become complacent. It's been very important for us, and it has helped us for our love to grow in one another and also to grow in a deeper understanding of who we are in our relationship. And so as we come to the end of our time reflecting on this book, Into His Likeness, hopefully the experience has encouraged you to grow in a deeper relationship with God and really to help you think about how are you making sure that your relationship with Him isn't complacent as well. You know, we really need to keep the flame of faith burning throughout our lives so that our relationship with God continues to transform our lives so that we grow in a stronger relationship with Him and grow stronger as missionary disciples, helping each other to grow and helping our parishes to grow as well. So how do we keep this relationship with Jesus growing? Well, here are a few thoughts that we're going to just reflect on in this video of the last section of the book. The first is, if we truly desire to be grown as disciples of Jesus, we need to be constantly putting before our minds the most important truths. That's the first thing. The second is, what relationships do I have, or new relationships am I establishing who seek Christ's will in their lives, just like I'm doing as well. And the third is, if we want to be healed of our wounds and imperfections, then we want to go to the sacraments. And the fourth thing we'll reflect on is, if we want to be disciples who follow Jesus, we must have at the heartbeat of our spiritual life a daily encounter with Him. So let's quickly reflect on a few thoughts from these last 4 chapters, and here they are. Battle for our mind, Christian fellowship, amazing signs, amazing grace, and the primacy of interior life. So the first, battle for our mind. You know, our mind is a wonderful gift from God for many reasons, but I believe the most important is because it gives us the opportunity to get to know Him. He's provided us the ability of reason, a conscience, and this is what makes us significantly different from any other creature that He has created. He created us to be in relationship with Him and has provided us the ability to do that. So our challenge is we're also provided with free will, right? And which then allows our mind to be coerced by other influences in the world. And believe me, over my faith journey and over my life, there's been some of my own struggles with that. The author provides a very familiar quote from St. Paul, and I know you know this quote and you probably read it in the book, warning us to be ready for this battle of our minds. And he says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind." And this chapter focuses on helping us to be aware of that we desire to be truly growing as disciples of Jesus Christ. It's important for us to create disciplines in our lives that's going to help us put in front of our minds the most important truths, the highest truths, the ones that matter the most. And God knows that the secular world is fighting against those truths that He provides. And this is why it's so important for us to be growing as disciples and always learning and strengthening His truths in us. So again, going back to St. Paul's quote, says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of mind." So how do we form our minds? The author provides 3 significant suggestions that really come right from the lives of the first disciples. Now, granted, going to Mass is the summit and source for us, no doubt. But there are 3 significant other practices that we can incorporate into our regular weekly lives. So here's the first. The first is, make sure that the Bible and Catechism are part of your life daily if you can. The second, reading good books, such as the one that we just reflected on. You know, I've been really gratified by the amount of people who have been reaching out to me and saying how much they really enjoy the book, the videos. In fact, just recently, a woman just reached out to me and said, "I've enjoyed this so much that I'm now going to be having my women's ministry read the book and go through the videos." The third is the author encourages us to participate in Catholic retreats, conferences, listen to podcasts, and watch videos such as you're doing right now. So these are all great ways to help our minds grow in the truth that God desires us to know. And I'd encourage you to pick one that will work, that you will work on spending more time with. Just pick one and then grow from there. So here's a question. How will you challenge yourself to grow a little bit more this week so you can develop a stronger habit of these practices? That's what you want to do. You want to grow, you want to develop a stronger habit of these practices. That my spiritual director over many, many years has helped me develop these habits that have helped me to grow in my own journey of discipleship. All right, so let's talk about chapter 11, Christian fellowship, something that I absolutely believe in and work hard at. You know, one of the ways that this chapter challenges me is to think about, how do I interact with others through the week who have the same desire that I have, which is to grow in a deeper relationship with Jesus Christ? Am I developing new relationships? Am I reaching out to the ones that I have, encouraging to be interacting and sharing our faith? It's absolutely critical, I believe. You know, fellowship with other disciples. We can't expect to grow in our relationship with Jesus Christ on our own. We need other brothers and sisters. I need you in my life to help me to grow. So a great question that we should be asking ourselves is this: what friendships do I have, or new friendships that I'm establishing with others who are desiring Christ's will for their lives, pursuing prayer, virtue, holiness, earnestly struggling to be more and more like Jesus in all areas of their lives? We really need to learn that it's okay to share with one another during the week and to find out how we are doing with our relationship with God. In fact, I encourage you to do it with me. And look, don't expect me to say to you, hey, it's good, I'm good, yeah, it's great. No, I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to let you know how I am doing, if I'm struggling, or if in fact my week is joyful. Because you know what? I have nothing to hide. God already knows what's going on in my life. You, by reaching out to me or me reaching out to you, we're helping God's grace to work within our lives so we can grow the way in which He desires us to be growing. So the first disciples, they did this, right? They discussed, they debated, they challenged each other, they honored and supported and encouraged each other. That's what I'm hoping we can do for each other. And most of all, they pushed each other. So my hope is that we're doing this together with this book, making sure, you know, we're surrounding each other with other disciples. So this is one of the reasons why I love doing what I do. I believe in the importance of community and supporting one another in our faith journey. Our journey with God is not meant to be on our own, but it's meant to be in community. Jesus showed that in so many ways. So we need both, absolutely. We do need that time of quiet, intimate prayer. I love that in my own life. But we also need each other journeying together. So if we really want to mature in our faith as disciples, we need to be developing relationships both outside of the parish and in the parish that encourages us to be growing in this discipleship journey. So do you have someone in your life right now that shares their personal struggles and talks about their relationship with God? Do you share that with them as well? So fellowship is such an important part of the mission that we're called to be as disciples. All right, chapter 12, amazing signs, amazing grace. If you truly desire to be healed of your wounds, your brokenness, your imperfections, participating in the sacramental life of the church is so important. The sacraments are not random rituals performed by our religion. They are gifts from God that I've experienced. I'm sure you've experienced these gifts and the graces as well. our Lord God, He really desires us to encounter Him. So if you want to help others to understand the relevancy of the sacraments in their lives, we need to be able to witness, to share our own personal experiences, really be able to articulate how the sacraments are very relevant to our lives. So it's important for us to be encouraging one another, right? To become more open to sharing the experiences of our sacramental encounters. We need to hear from each other. It's so important that we share with one another how the Lord is transforming our lives through His healing grace. Now, this is a very encouraging quote in the book that I found. It's on page 126. It says, "A true disciple doesn't want to just go through the motions. We want to encounter Jesus more profoundly and allow the graces to bear much fruit in our lives." So as genuine disciples, we should have this great desire to encounter the Lord in the sacraments, not just go through the motion of participating in the sacraments. So maybe this week, you go to a morning mass, or you find some time to go to reconciliation, or find some time to go to adoration for a short period of time. All right, the last chapter, the primacy of interior life. So here we are, the final chapter of the book, the importance of the interior life, the discipline of daily time of prayer and reflection. It's been a very foundational part of my own personal growth as a disciple. It provides in many ways these daily encounters of the Lord for me. Here's what the author says. He says, if we want to be disciplines who follow Jesus, we must have at the heartbeat of our spiritual life a daily encounter with Him, just like His first disciples who were with Him each day. Time for reflecting on Christ's life in an intimate conversation with God about how His life speaks to us today and how we can live more like Him. So I'll encourage you to continue reflecting on this question. How are you finding a little more time today, right now, to spend with Jesus? What will you do today to spend a little bit more time with Him? And the author makes this great point. He says, it's not just our own spiritual lives at stake. Other people's lives are impacted by our faithfulness to daily prayer. And if you really think about that, that is just so powerful and important. However you start your day, I always like to start with a time of prayer. That really helps set the foundation of who I am and who God is calling me to be for others in the mission. So when we allow ourselves not to have a discipline, when we allow ourselves to have a discipline of daily prayer, we live more according to God's will and plan. But when we don't, we live more according to our will and our plan. So, the author even addresses one of the biggest challenges that we have, or excuses that we face. And I think you know what it is, right? I don't have time. But we always make time for the things we think are important, don't we? So we just have to make this a little bit more important for us in our lives. People depend on it. So here's what I'm going to challenge you a little bit with that I think is important. Listen to this. Is being healed important to you? Or do you want to continue living with those hidden wounds that you have? Is being joyful important to you? Or do you want to continue living with the feeling of regret? Is helping your parish to be renewed and helping others to discover God important to you? Or do you want to continue grumbling about why people aren't coming to church? If we truly desire to help our parishes be renewed in Jesus Christ, we need to be the foundation of that renewal. Your time of daily prayer is critical in your personal renewal and in your parish renewal. So we're at the end of this reflection. So if you could, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel or podcast. It helps the channel to grow and provides you with the opportunity to know when other videos or episodes will be available. So I hope this journey has inspired you along your own faith journey of discipleship. And I really truly look forward to continuing the journey with you as we're growing as disciples. Take care and God bless.